Today is a special day. You see, 1 year ago today, something happened that brought me here where I am right now. Let me tell you about it. So before I tell you about how I got to where I am now, I just wanted to show you, this is my classroom and also happens to be where my church meets every Sunday morning. Before I get into that though, I've got to set up. Let's do that now. So, you're probably wondering what I was talking about just then. A year ago today, I climbed a mountain. Yeah. It wasn't Everest, it wasn't this massive, huge thing. It was called Pinnacle Mountain near Little Rock, Arkansas. See, I took this trip to Little Rock kind of on a whim. I was already planning to go on a camp out with some friends in Central Arkansas, and it was on the way, and I needed a couple days off of work. I just needed to get away. And so I set out to go and do all the things I never did in Little Rock, even though I lived an hour away from it for most of my college career. And it was an incredible trip. Really, I mean, everything about it was amazing. I had the time of my life. But that's not what changed me. So I decided finally I was going to climb Pinnacle Mountain. I had been invited many times by many friends before, and every time I said, nah, I won't do it. It's not for me. Every single time I said, I'm good. Every single time I said, man, I think that's kind of hard. I think I'll pass. And every time they came back with stories of the view and how awesome it was and how I really missed out. And I go, okay, whatever, man. So when I climbed it this time, I got to the top, just in time to see sunset over the hills, and it was I don't have words. To this day, I've yet to see a more beautiful view. But when I was on top of that mountain, all I thought was, how many times did I say no? How many times did I not go because I had something else better to do? How many times did I miss out on relationship, friendship building moments because I said I didn't want to? How many times did I look at how hard I thought it would be, and because it was hard, at least I thought too hard, I didn't want to do it? When I sat on top of that mountain, I realized, in my heart I knew, that if I truly understood how hard that climb was going to be, I wouldn't have gone. I would have stayed back at my hostel in Little Rock and rested. I was lazy. Truly lazy. Not the kind of lazy that doesn't like to work. I mean, most of us, I think, have days where we just don't want to do it. That's understandable. The kind of lazy, though, that goes, even fun things that require me to exert myself, I'm out. I was the kind of lazy that said, what? That thing can bring me life and joy and pleasure and could bring me closer to God, but requires work? I'm out. I was the worst kind of lazy. But this was a good moment for me. Sitting there, because I was very tired, sitting there at the top of that mountain, seeing this gorgeous view before me, I was on the verge of tears. Because how many times had I been invited to go to see this very same sight with friends? And here I was alone, by myself. How many times did I say no? On the way down from that mountain, all I could think about was how many times that I passed something up that could have changed my life, that could have been amazing. How many times did I say no because it wasn't what I wanted to do? How many times had I missed out on an opportunity in life because it required hard work? I went up that mountain pretty lazy. When I came back down, something in me had changed, had clicked. And I realized something, that I wanted more out of life than what I had. I went to that camp out that weekend. I had a blast with friends. I really enjoyed myself and enjoyed their company. But the whole drive home, all I could think about was, is this the life I want? Am I living the life that I want? Am I building the life that I want? And when I pulled into my parking spot in front of my house, all I could think, the only answer that came back to me was a firm, resounding no. So what did I do next, huh? Well, after literally having a mountaintop experience, literally, I had to think, what do I do? How do I get overseas? And how do I make it work? And so, considering I'm not rich and don't have a ton of money, I came to the conclusion that I had to do one thing. I had to get a job. So what job did I apply for? The only thing I'm really good at, teaching. I applied for jobs in South Korea, Japan, England, Spain. Where else did I apply? I applied for jobs in, Vietnam. I applied for jobs all over Asia. Application after application after application. Didn't hear a thing. Japan was really where I was trying to hit heavy. That's where I really want to go someday still, but it's where I really wanted to be. And every single time, nothing. I worked super hard on my application, or maybe an essay that went along with it, or tried to do a good cover letter. Nothing. I didn't really know what to do. So I sat down and I prayed, very hard, by the way. And the Lord made it very clear that if I was to do this, I would have had to jump. There was no half measures. Half measures were not going to help me. So I did the one thing that everyone tells you not to do. I quit my job before I had another job. Stupid. It's completely stupid, I know. But I trusted in the Lord. I really did. I really believed He was telling me to do this. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, began transitioning my role over to whoever would take over for me, and started going forward. At the time, I had a small number of work. I had a little work. I was working for a political candidate, someone that I trusted and believed in, and so I felt like I had some income until something materialized. But for the most part, yeah, I was completely on my own. I had no job, and I was really afraid, very, very afraid. But through it all, leads started coming in for jobs overseas, in Japan and China and other places, and I applied for them. Still, nothing. So in November of 2017, I quit my job, and by December I was working for the political candidate. I was doing that full time, I did that for December and January, and going into January of 2018. So January 2018 comes and goes, no one bites, no job. February starts, again, I'm working very long days for the political candidate, and then I'm coming home and applying for jobs for about 3 or 4 hours a night. Nothing. I'm getting kind of desperate. I'm getting really worried, because my thought is, what if God isn't coming through? What if the belief I had that he told me to quit isn't real? What if he wasn't telling me that? Well, had kind of a little bit of a breakdown. And I used the term breakdown pretty loosely. I had a full-scale nervous lockup. It's the best word I can to describe it. I stayed in bed, I didn't eat, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't talking to anyone, I wasn't calling any family, nothing. I was skipping out on work. I mean, I literally just shut down. It was bad. It was real bad. But despite this, after about a week, I kind of came out of it, I guess. I talked to a bunch of really close friends about what had happened, and they had suggested I get counseling, and I'm still actually seeking that to this day. But it was good for me because it really recentered, it restarted my heart and my mind and what I was doing and why. And so I kept going. But before I did that, this time I stopped and I prayed. For real. I really, really prayed. And this time I asked God to do something special. I asked him to move. I asked him to make very clear where he wanted me to go. Because I knew he wanted me to go. I just didn't know where or how that would happen. And sure enough, in time, God opened a door. There's a website I use called christianjobs.com. No, they aren't paying me to say their name. I really, truly am blessed by them showing up when they did. But go to christianjobs.com if you want to work in the church, if you want to work in missions or do any kind of education or anything like that involving Christian workplaces. They'll be able to help you out. But I got a job through there. I saw several listings and I was applying through them regularly. And I saw for a job in Taiwan. Never heard of Taiwan. Seriously, I mean, I had heard of it, but I thought it was like a province in China. So I'm like, oh, China again, okay. So I applied. Literally within an hour of sending my application, I get an email from my principal. She wants to talk on the phone. Okay, you're in Taiwan. I can't afford that long distance call. So we make it work somehow. And after an interview, she offers me the job. She says that she's kind of in a dire strait. She needs a teacher in a week. Wow. A week? It's pretty fast. But I had been selling everything, getting rid of stuff. I had been clearing out all of my worldly possessions. So I mean, really, all I had to do was pack up my clothes and go. It was perfect. Needless to say, I took the job, and I'm here in Taiwan, and I'm loving every second of it. I'm teaching in a Christian school. I'm working at a church here while I'm here. I'm content with life. So, well, it's Sunday morning. It's time for church. I'm happy to be here, and I'm hoping to make more videos about my life here. So, be sure to subscribe and follow along. Love you guys.
I'm ready to love. I'm ready to give myself